and it's just a little human interest to get a little bit of a view into some people. So the first question is, how does dance come into your life?
I mean, dance has been here my whole life, and I know this is slightly repetitive for you, but I, as long as I can remember, have been watching dance and loving dance. So my oldest brother went to school for dance, and so I grew up going with my mom to support his performances, and I begged her every single time that we left to put me into classes. But we have a big family, it wasn't feasible, so I wasn't actually able to start taking classes until I was about 13. And that was in my regular school classes. As soon as I had the opportunity, I said, sign me up, I'm doing that. And I just didn't stop. I joined teams as much as possible. I sought them out. There were a couple other programs that I was in with our school that, like, if there was a dance piece of it, I would join that part. And I've just always loved all different types of dance. Couldn't train in all of them. The one I got to train in was ballroom growing up. Yeah, that was what I had the opportunity for. But I've always loved pretty much all styles of dance. And so I've always watched all of it. And then just there was a period of time where I didn't have as much opportunity. It wasn't as readily available. And so this past year, I kind of jumped at the opportunity to get back into learning it and more the social side of it. Because when I was younger, it was more the performance side. Mm-hmm. And so now I get to experience the social side, which I think is a whole different world, and it's amazing.
Well, this camp is extremely social, really, isn't it? Because we're all living under the one roof in a domestic kind of like family situation, and clubbing each night, and I'm loving it. How have you found this camp? What are some of the highlights or comments? Or
I've loved it. I think I wasn't quite prepared for just how immersive, like culturally, and just learning about people here, learning about their style of dance, learning about the way that dance is part of their life. Like for me, it's always been a flourish I've wanted and craved, and it's a part of my soul, if you will. But for them, it's a part of their life, and I want that. I want to take a piece of that with me. And I've just loved what Maria and Alex have done to introduce us to so many different pieces of it, teach us the history, introduce us to the people, and I know I unfortunately won't get to see part of it, but to really take you into the genuine culture that exists with it. And I think that's been really amazing. I have loved the different teachers they've brought in. And even when we've learned from, I don't speak Spanish, but when we've learned from people who can't speak the language we're normally teaching in, I thought that was actually some of the coolest experiences, because that's felt the most authentic.
They're teaching you dance, they're speaking Spanish, and you're like, I don't know what they're saying, but it sounds cool, and you're kind of getting into the groove.
And I would almost argue the way that they teach, dance is a universal language to me. Yeah. And so I can't understand their words, but they're expressing themselves well enough that I feel like it is communicated. And obviously they're translating, but I've loved being here. Who doesn't?
It's an amazing place. I feel like it's a bit of a pilgrimage. Bachata is, born in Dominican Republic, so to come to the home of is, it's a very, it's so authentic here to sort of see the locals dancing as they, in a very relaxed way. It doesn't seem very commercial. It seems like they just dance how they dance.
Well, and that's what, for me, is probably the biggest difference with, in general, social dancing, but the way that I grew up dancing was, again, very performance-based, very like, this is what I look like, and this is how amazing it is. Whereas here, it's so much more about connecting with the music. It's so much more about having fun. It's about being relaxed and
I'm going to pick you up on that connecting. From all of the people that I've danced with here, you have the strongest connection. Because when we dance together, like, you make very strong eye contact and you're smiling, and it's, to me, it feels it's very important to feel that connection with your partner. Not only the pressure that you can feel with your hands, but like, to know that you're dancing with somebody else and that you're sharing this experience. So it's, I've got to give you a compliment, because it feels very wonderful to dance with you. You're just beaming smile, and like, you know that I'm there and I know you're there, and that is, it's a wonderful part of dance.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And so you've come here with Loghen.
Yes.
And you guys met a couple months ago, is that right? And you've been joined at the hip since. You seem very wonderfully close and together. So did she kind of say, I'm going to the Dominican Republic, come with me?
Pretty much. So when she wanted to dive into dance, she was like, hey, I'm doing this. And I was like, can I do this with you? And so I kind of joined in. We took a couple classes back home, which were some of the other styles they told us about. It wasn't Dominican style Bachata. And so we took some classes together. And Loghen is a very 100% in person. And so when she was doing research and talking to people about, we'd gone to some festivals back home. She talked to some people about where they learned and what they did. And she was like, so she had done the research and actually found BailaMar. And when she found it, she was like, listen, we should go. By the way, I've already signed up, so you should really come with me. So I was like, okay, I will figure this out and I will be there. So yeah, she was the one that discovered it and kind of introduced me to this particular experience.
It's an interesting polarity, the two of you, because Loghen is, she's going at 100 miles an hour and she's very strong, and you're sort of like, can I pick up this cat? You know, is it, you know, you're asking questions and you're being like so polite and so sweet, I must admit. But it's interesting that.
Gotta go get something from out here.
No worries.
Okay.
It's,
I'm sorry, are you guys in?
No problem.
Okay. You are always welcome.
You're making a little blooper for our bloopers, Julie. Yeah, that's Julie. Hopefully we'll catch her a little bit later. But yeah, no, it's interesting that, like, for example, Loghen has tarantulas.
Yeah.
And she loves them and cuddles them, and
I'm happy for her.
and that's not your thing.
Nope.
Tarantulas are not your thing.
No, they're not.
And how have you found domestic living here with strangers? Like,
actually, it's been really cool. I think that was one of the things I really liked about it, was I feel so often like the experiences we take, especially when we travel to other countries, you can meet a lot of cool people, but this is pulling people from all over the world and being like, hey, like, be a little family together.
be a family.
Yeah,
that's it.
You learn so much about, I mean, it's been immersive here, but it's also been eye-opening across the world, because everybody's from different areas, and so we've all been able to share some of our life experiences. And to me, that's one of, at the end of the day, I've always loved traveling, just in general. I love traveling. I love experiencing other places. And some of the other places came to me this time. And I think it's one of the most valuable things is being able to see the world from somebody else's perspective. And that's one of the most, like, life-enriching things.
Yeah.
So I've actually loved being here in that, like, that particular social dynamic of, to your point, what you're doing even right now, seeing why different people are doing it. And I don't know that we would have interacted on the same level if we had all just been, okay, here's the schedule, be here at these times, we'll do these specific experiences. Like
a dance class experience versus a dance camp experience.
Right. And like, I don't know, with how integrated all these activities are, and us staying in the same house versus maybe a hotel, and like you have your meals on your own and that kind of thing, that's very different than being in the environment where we're sharing the space. So your common area is somebody else's. You might chat about something, learn more about them.
And by sharing the space, just to give an example, which I think is quite hilarious, Paul forgot to lock the bathroom door one day.
He sure did.
And you got to know Paul a little more than
before I knew his name.
So there you go. But it is like everyone is so chill, and it's a family environment. And I think that you get a lot of support. And I think when we're dancing together as family. It feels, it's a different level as opposed to it's just a class.
Right.
It's kind of all together, and that's very much one of the strong reasons why I wanted to come. I wanted to come to Dominican Republic because it's home of Bachata. But the idea of living domestically in a family, and that's like, wow, there's all these new people to explore. And that's, for example, this, capturing on camera a little bit of the faces, because the video will show us all dancing and show us some classes, but who are these people?
Right.
So it's nice to kind of pull out some of the individuals from that are coming together. In life, what's a big achievement goal, something positive that you've had in your life? Like if someone was to say to you, what's a highlight of your life?
Of my whole life?
Whole life. It's a broad open question.
That is a broad open question. But I think overall in my life, in review, I don't think it's one big thing. I think I've been very grateful for everybody's life is hard. Everybody has their challenges. Everybody is fighting through something.
Yeah.
And I've been very grateful to have people in my life that have helped me take my experiences and find the positivity in them and grow from them. I don't think that I have one particular, this is the moment I got, that I achieved this wonderful thing, or that this was a horrible thing and beauty grew from it. I think overall I'm just really grateful for the travel experiences I have. I will say one of the things that shaped me quite a bit, actually. Shaped you,
that's a good phrase. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to pull out, yeah?
Was when I was 19, I went, it was a very last minute thing. Most people prepared quite a bit longer, but I had a last minute opportunity to join a group that took 4.5 months and lived in China to teach an immersive English program. So I didn't actually know any of the language there. It was an immersive English teaching program. And I was given the opportunity about a month and a half before they left. And so I very quickly had to kind of sort my life out to be gone for that long, very last minute. And I lived in Nanjing and got to travel all over China while I was there and teach these kids how to teach. I learned how to teach and then taught them how to teach English. So it was a very unexpected experience.
What were you teaching?
English. Yep. So that was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences, because prior to that, I didn't really know a lot about the culture there. I didn't know what to expect. I'd never traveled on that level. I'd never had that level of immersion into another culture.
Because that's a very extreme cultural change.
Yes. And it changed my perspective. It made me love, again, other cultures and seeing things. That was part of where my love of travel was born. I loved it before, but I loved it in a different way from that. And I came to just really value getting those experiences, I guess.
Yeah.
So
personal growth and discovery and
yeah,
that's really cool.
Siquiera los golpes de ese gigante, un logro Let's go. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Soy una mala, un tigre tranquilo, un tubo de pasado, un crecilo. 1, 2, 3.
You're like my sin, like my sin.